In this video, I'm going to show you some of the most common hiding spots in the market for Mineplex Block Hunt. Now, the market is said to be one of the easiest hunter maps in Block Hunt, and I agree. So that's why I think it's worth learning if you want to learn how to hunt really well in Block Hunt. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the most common hiding spots in this map, and I'm going to show you a specific hunting technique that I sometimes use if I'm trying to go for the most common hiding spots. And so this hunting technique that I'm going to show you will go over almost every single common hiding spot. So let's begin. So the first thing you do is we start at hunter spawn. And when we go out, the first place we are going to go to are these hay bales right here. So out of these hay bale stacks, this is definitely one of the common hiding spots. You might also see a hay bale hide right here. And that's basically it for this stack right here. Now after that, I tend to go over here. And so again, you might see a hay bale right here. A hay bale right here. Or you sometimes see a hay bale hide right here. However, it turns out that you mainly see chickens hiding in that spot. It tends not to be as common as you think for hay bales, but rather for chickens. So you just want to make sure you click any chicken that's in there just to see whether or not it's fake or real. So make sure you just gotta make sure that there's no chickens hiding in there. So it tends to be common for some reason. Another spot in this room, this is the last common spot in this room, is a flower pot hiding right here. Specifically right here, as you can see. If you see a flower pot that's solid right here, that tends to be actually a common spot. So don't forget about that one. These furnaces, you really don't have to worry about these furnaces. After that, once you're done with this house, you then come over here to these three stacks right here. So you have TNT, crafting table, and cakes. So for the TNT, I'd say the most common hiding spot is right here. Next, for these crafting tables, you might sometimes see a crafting table right here. Right? That's pretty much it for that. And for cakes, I don't know any of the common hiding spots for cakes, but all I do is I just remember that there's 4 cakes over here. And that's basically it. Now after that, we are going to head towards the center of the map. Now the center of the map is the most common place to find hiding spots. Alright, the center of the map. There tends to be lots of hiders here for some reason. So, by the way, these flower pots are actually real. So these 3 flower pots that you see right there, those are real. So don't be tricked by those. You never have to be tricked by those. Alright. So, for this pumpkin stack right here, you might see a pumpkin right here. And you might see a pumpkin right here. Right? These tend to be the common spots in that pumpkin stack. However, of course, if you basically just know what this pumpkin stack looks like, then you could basically have no problem just picking out any of those spots. Next, for these note blocks right here, there are you might see a note block right here, or a note block right here. There are other spots that you might see, so again, if you just know what it looks like, you'll be fine. However, those 2 spots, if you know those 2 spots, you'll be in pretty good shape. So again, this spot right here, and this spot right here. Alright. Alright, so next, of course, get rid of any of the, because this is the hider spawn, right? You want to make sure you get rid of any AFK. For some reason you're going AFK when the game starts. Like if they do that, then you just have to get rid of them. Next, you can then come over here to this farm, and what you might see is hay bales. Now the trick to this is if you ever see 3 hay bales in a row, right? 3 hay bales in a row. 3 hay bales in a row. In this case, there's still 3 hay bales in a row. It's really 4, but if you see like that many hay bales in a row, then it makes sense that one of them has to be fake, right? Because that's if a hay bale were to go anywhere, you would normally see 3 hay bales in a row. And that's basically it. Again, yes, this is still 3 hay bales in a row, as you can see. This tends to be common as well. Alright, there's many spots that there could be over here. Next, just know that there's 2 pumpkins over here, because you sometimes see fake pumpkins a lot. Alright, and after that, we go inside of this house. So, once I'm done with this area, I'm going inside of this big house right here. So I go inside right here. So there's only a couple common hiding spots here. For example, it's just these hay bales. So right here, if you see 6 hay bales like that, then this one is fake. You might also see a hay bale right here. As you see, this hay bale right here is fake. And that's basically it. Next, we go up here. These crafting tables, the only really common spot for these crafting tables that you really have to know is this one. And that's basically it. If you know there's 3 crafting tables right here, it's really not that big of a deal. Sometimes you see this spot. Not super common, but you might see it. And one more spot in this second floor, right here, a crafting table right there, it's fake. That's the only other common hiding spot in this room. On the ceiling, there's a couple more. Or not the ceiling, the roof, there's a couple more. For example, this is the most common spot on this roof. There, you could see a melon right here. As you see, this is the most common spot in this on the roof. Next, over here for this TNTs, you might see a TNT in here or a TNT in here. However, it turns out that most of the time you actually see flower pots in here. And I didn't transform it. Yes, a flower pot in here. You might see more often you'll see a flower pot in these holes instead of a TNT. Next, what you can do is you can basically just leap, because remember, we're assuming you're a leaper hunter. What you can do is you can leap onto that tree, and this tree actually isn't as bad as you think. For example, there's only, basically when you're looking at the tree, as you're leaping onto the tree, you should only really see these 2 flower pots, and these flower pots are real. Next, basically you come over to this side of the tree right here. You come over behind that. Okay, let's just do this again. So once you leap onto this tree, basically what you'll see, you only see 2 flower pots right here, right? These 2 flower pots are real. Now as you go towards the back of the tree, you'll see 2 more flower pots, and those ones are real. And that's basically all you have to know, and then you'll be able to pick out any of the fake flower pots that are here. So 2 in the front, and then 2 in the back. As you can see, it's pretty easy. Now, you also have one right here. That one is real. So that one, usually you don't have to worry about it, because no one's going to click that if it's real. So basically, 2 right there, and 2 right there. And that's basically it. So next, what I do is I usually just look over at that stack and over at that stack to see if there's any fake ones. Sometimes I look over there. I don't worry about anything over there yet, not yet. And usually I look directly down at this pumpkin stack and I just jump down. Now, for this pumpkin stack right here, notice how oh my god. Notice how right here, this is a fake pumpkin. This is also a fake pumpkin. So notice how it kind of forms a line with those spots. And so there should only be 3 pumpkins that go in a line, which is this one, and this one. Those are the fake pumpkins. And that's basically it for the pumpkin stacks. There's nothing else that's really common there. Now for these cauldrons, there's really only 1 spot, which is right here for some reason. I don't even know why, but you tend to see that one. Now for these cauldrons, you might see flower pots, of course. For this note block, as you can see, there's only 1 hole that they can really fill, so this tends to be a common spot. So as you can see, that is the only common spot in those note blocks. Nothing really in these dispensers. Nothing really in these hay bales. Not really. This isn't really as common as you think. And that's basically it. Believe it or not, this area of the map tends to be common to find hiders in for some reason. For this TNT stack, sometimes you see hiders just hiding either right here. Sometimes they aren't even solid for some reason. That's basically it though. After you're done checking down here, you can then go inside of this house right here. This house is really easy to know. So I'll show you why it's really easy. So basically what I do is when I'm heading from this area to that area. What I like to do is I like to check over here and look to see if there's a crafting table right there on top of that crafting table. Because if you see a crafting table like this on top of that crafting table, then that crafting table is specifically fake. So I like to quickly look to make sure there isn't one, right? And then once I'm done doing that, I then go inside of this house. And I'm looking here, and I'm looking there. So basically what I do is I quickly look here, and then I look over there. So what you sometimes see is you sometimes see enchantment tables right here. Sometimes it's a bookshelf. So basically just look to make sure that there aren't any fake blocks right here or right here, and you should be good to go. After that, I look over here, so I can see whether or not there's a crafting table right here, right? And also to make sure there's no crafting table on top right here, so this one would also be fake. Now, you might also see furnaces or crafting tables, or even note blocks for some reason, hiding right here. Sometimes there are flower pots, just hiding in one of these areas right here. Next, what I do is I quickly go up here and I just look to see if there's a hay bale right here. So this is a fake hay bale. This is a fake crafting table. This is a fake melon. So as you see, a fake melon right here. These are the only real common spots there. And there's only 2 flower pots over here. Not really that important to know. However, you sometimes see a flower pot hide in here like this. Let me become a flower pot. You sometimes see a flower pot hiding in there like that. So usually what I do is, as I'm going up these stairs, I usually just launch my bow into there to make sure that there's no flower pot. I don't really check in the other ones since I'm passing by each of them anyway. I usually don't take the time to walk over here because I'm trying to go as quickly as possible. Now, these crafting tables, you should just know what these crafting tables look like. You might see a hay bale hide right here. So as you can see that, and that's basically it. Next, I basically will leap on top of that building. So I don't really, again, when I was inside of here, I didn't take the time to go on top of the ladder because there were other spots to worry about, like the center of Hunter Spawn over here, right? However, now, once I'm on top of that building right there, I then leap onto this building. For these hay bales, I would just know what they look like, and that there's 2 flower pots on top. If you know that, you should be good to go. Alright, so to be able to pick up any of those spots on top of this roof. I usually don't check, because it's not as common as all those other spots. And then what I'm doing is I would usually just run over to this side of the map. Now, the farther you go on this side of the map, the less common those spots are going to be. Right? They're mainly over there. Okay, so basically I'm just running over here, and now I'm under this tent, basically. I don't know what to call it. I'll just call it a tent. I'm under this brick tent right here. And so I'm going to show you the common spots here. Now, there tends actually not to be as many hiders here under this brick tent as much as you think. Usually, I would just know that there's three cauldrons / anvils here. So 3 in a row like that. And usually, it's not really that important to know anything over here. That's basically it. Next, usually I just go over here. I think it's a bad habit that I just go over here and just waste time doing that, but it doesn't really matter. Sometimes you see something behind here. It tends to be really common for some reason. You might also see a pumpkin hiding right here, actually, or jack-o'-lantern, right? Same thing, not really, but you know what I mean, right? Tends to be either one of those hiding right there. Sometimes it's even a melon. Sometimes it's a flower pot. About these cauldrons and anvils, notice how there's always 4 in a row here. So if you ever see a complete row of anvils and cauldrons, then one of them has to be fake. And that's basically all there is to that. For cauldrons over here, tends to be actually really easy because if you ever see 3 in a row, one of them has to be fake. Right? That's what makes this stuff really easy. If you see a 3 in a row, you tend to find fake blocks quite a lot. Of course, there won't really be anything right there. And that's basically it. This tends to be a really common spot. So notice how I'm over here, right? And notice how we have these bookshelves right here. Not as difficult as you think, right? There tends to be something right here. Sometimes there's a flower pot, so some people tend to just launch their bow in. So as you can see, that. I would know that there's only 3 enchantment tables right here because you sometimes see an enchantment table right here. But if you just know that there's 3 there, you should be perfectly fine. For bookshelves, you should know how that this is a spot sometimes. Sometimes you see something right here. And that's basically it for that. Now, any spot over here tends to be extremely uncommon, right? You tend not to really see anyone hiding in this area of the map at all. Maybe like, I don't know, twice every 15 games, so once every at least 5 games, once every 7 games, one hider hides there. I have no idea. It's just really, it's not that common. Not important to know. Nothing usually hides under this tent. Under this tent, nope. Nothing under here. I guess you could kind of know these TNT stacks It's not really that important though. This cake right here is legit. You don't have to hit that one over and over again. Nothing really common over here. As you can see, you don't really see much hide right here. It's not that common. I would just know that there's 4 flower pots like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And basically, if you see something like this, like notice how those flower pots, they're too close to each other. One of them has to be fake. It's as simple as that. If they're too close to each other, then like notice how this flower pot, that flower pot, that flower pot, that flower pot, they're all evenly spaced. However, if I see one right here, then it makes sense that the one in the center has to be fake because it's just too close to those other 2 flower pots. I guess you could just know the height of these melon sacks, because you sometimes see something right here, or you might see even a flower pot or a melon on top like that. However, you tend also not to really see many blocks. You tend not to really see as many hiders on this side of the map as well for some reason. It tends not to really be as common as you think. So you don't really have to know any of this stuff. I usually just go by here with radar. It's not super important. However, there are a couple more important things that you should know. And that includes this building right here. So, nothing really important right here. Sometimes you see hiders here. It's not super important. However, what is important is that you know that there's 3 flower pots on top like this. So as you see 1, 2, 3, you tend to actually see a flower pot hide here for some reason. So as you can see, if you see more than 3 flower pots up here, then one of them has to be fake. So once you're up here, again, you could actually leap from those pumpkins on top of here, if that's the technique that you want to use, because usually you don't really see any hiders hide inside of that. So if you want to do a quick thing, and do that. Next, you can then leap up to there. Now here's the thing. You might be doing 2 leaps in a row. You really don't have to leap from this tall building to that tree. What you can do is you can actually jump from here to here. Even if you don't completely make the jump, what you can do is you can just go to the other side. There's wood right here, and then you could get on top. There tends not to really be as many hiders hiding there as much. But as you can see, chickens could be hiding there, or flower pots. Next, we go on top of these 3 trees right here. So this tree, that tree, and that tree. Let's talk about these. Yes, they are actually common for some reason. You tend to see hiders hide on these trees a lot. Just know that there's 3 flower pots here, and you'll be able to catch a hider like this one right here. This is fake. The reason why I know this one is fake is because I know that there's only 3 flower pots that are supposed to be on that tree. Next, we have cakes. Here's how I know this cake tree. Basically, you have 2 cakes in a row like that, 2 cakes in a row like that, and 2 cakes on a row like that. So if you wanted to call this the front of the tree, you could say, oh, there's 2 cakes in the front, 2 cakes in the middle, or just the top of the tree, 2 cakes in the middle, and then just 2 cakes in the back. So there should be a total of 6 cakes like that. So 2, 4, 6, just like that. That's how you can know that tree. Now this tree I usually don't really care that much about. If you know that there's 5 flower pots, and it's really not that important of a tree. However, basically if you just know that there's 5 flower pots, then you should be good. The melons aren't that important. So once you're done checking these trees, basically what you can do is you can then just jump down, and I guess you could leap if you want. Now, of course, depending on any situation, sometimes you might want to go radar if there's like 1, 2 hiders left, and the hiders that are left are random. Like they're just like, wait, what? Who are these people? They're random. I don't know them. And so they're most likely not chickens, and then you can just get radar and then find them. However, if I were to go over a couple more spots, I guess you might see hiders over here. I didn't go over this house, and I didn't go over this stack. Basically, just for this stack, just a furnace right there is what tends to be something right there. You might see a furnace right here. Not super important, though. Just a furnace inside of here. That's really the only spot you need to know for that spot, basically. So, nothing really important right here. Maybe you might want to know that there's 4 cakes right here, and only 4 cakes, because you might see cakes. You might see another cake here, right? Sometimes you see that. If you might, and right here, this actually tends to be common. There's only 3 cakes right here, right? 3 cakes. If you see a 4th one of them has to be fake. All right, next, inside of this house. This house is very easy to know. Here's why. All right, there's really only one spot that a hay bale could go. That's right here. That's the only spot a hay bale could really hide at. So basically that spot right there, the only spot that a melon could hide in is right here, because it's the only spot where there's like a hole, right? And there's only one spot where a bookshelf or an enchantment table could hide, which is this hole right here. As you can see, that's it. And that's what makes this really easy. Right? One hole, one hole, one hole. And that's what makes it really, really easy to just know. I'm pretty sure that's all you really have to know in order to know that, basically. That's it. Alright, there's only a couple more spots that I need to quickly go over. And that includes this side of the map right here. It tends not to be super common, but it's definitely much easier to know about than it is the back of the map. Right? This tends to be a little bit more common than the back of the map as well. So for these jukeboxes, not really that important. For these note blocks, you might see a note block hiding right here. That's basically it. For these cakes, none of these cakes that are on top of bricks, all of these are real cakes that you don't have to hit any of them. However, sometimes you do see a cake hide here. For example, you might see a cake right here. Now here's the thing, there's two of them that are on the ground. There's only one cake that's supposed to be on the ground, only one, right? If you see a second one that's on the ground, that has to be fake. All of the cakes that are on top of bricks, they're real. Now this is really weird, but for some reason, you tend to see a pumpkin right here, you might see a pumpkin hide right here a lot. Tends to be really weird, but that's basically it. Let's see, how do I get on top of this thing? Oh yeah, that's obvious. I just do this. You tend to see a chicken or a flower pot hide on top of here as well. And so sometimes what I do is I'm on that building and I just leap over here onto that building instead of onto that building. Sometimes I do that. And that's basically it. For these melons, no one really cares about them. However, you should. All these melons are on a single level. However, okay. And that's basically it for the hiding spots on the market. Now there of course are more that you could know about, but those are just the common hiding spots if anyone's just hiding as a regular block. That's basically it for these hiding spots on the market.